Hello YouTube, it is your boy B3 back with another kicking graphic novel review. Today's trade is a pretty cool one. Tales from the DC Dark Multiverse. At the time of recording this, the second one isn't out yet, but I'm really anticipating it because this one was pretty good. I'm going to give you a read up of the back first. The most memorable moments from DC's celebrated history. Imagined for a dark new world. Reimagined, sorry. The Dark Multiverse, where everything you fear, everything... Sorry, what's wrong with me today? The Dark Multiverse, where everything you fear, every dire possibility, lives as its own reality. Here, the pivotal events that shaped the DC Universe play out along different, more sinister lines, and follow darker and more twisted paths. As witnessed by Tempest Fugonaut, the immortal sentry who stands watch at the barrier between universes, those eerily evocative tales reveal the final destinations of the roads not taken and the grim fates of those who choose to follow them. So this new character is basically the Watcher, but he stands guard between the multiverse and the Dark Multiverse, tries to keep them from going into each other. Featuring stories and artwork from a host of comics' most acclaimed talents, including Scott Snyder, Tim Seeley, James Tynion IV, Javier Fernandez, Brad Walker, Kyle Holtz, Aaron Lopresti, and Tom Rainey, and many more. Tales from the DC Dark Multiverse collects all 5 Dark Multiverse one-shots together with their acclaimed precursors from the pages of Batman 497, Superman 75, Blackest Night 1, Infinite Crisis 1, and Tales of the Teen Titans Annual 3. Kind of cool that they included those, because it was just 5 one-shots, but if you haven't read the stories that the one-shots are from, you'd be very confused. In all honesty, I haven't read Nightfall or the Judas Contract. Sue me, I don't read a lot of Teen Titans, and I just haven't gotten to Nightfall. It's just true. But I was very familiar with the events of those stories. They're 2 of the most popular for those specific characters or groups of characters. So I was very familiar with them, but it was nice to have something to compare them to as well. Very nice. So we actually are going to go through the book, and I'm going to tell you all many of the things that happen. So the first one is Batman Nightfall, which is pretty cool. So, in Nightfall, instead of defeating Azrael, Batman loses to him, and Azrael takes over the entire city, the Batcave, everything. Takes it all over. And he's like using Bane's venom to keep up with all of it. He keeps Bruce Wayne's torso and head attached to like these machines because he wants Bruce to admit that his way of being Batman is better. And every year he goes to Bruce and he's like, Bruce, I'll let you die. I'm making your life miserable. Admit that I'm the better Batman and I'll just let you die. And Bruce like spits in his face and stuff. It's pretty dope. Azrael has some vigilante followers who are zealous, of course, as Azrael is known for being. And then Bane's son, who naturally produces venom, shows up and frees Batman. And I think Lady Shiva's there. And they kind of put Bruce in this kind of nano body that makes him this nanite Batman, which is super dope and powerful. He looks hella cool. You gotta love it. So they fight Jean-Paul Valley. They defeat him. But then the nanite Batman, who's gone super crazy, becomes a murderous Batman and takes over Gotham, plunging it into more than likely another dark age. The next one is Death of Superman, where after Superman dies, Lois takes it a lot worse than she did in main continuity. Much worse. And she like goes to the Fortress of Solitude and stuff, and the Eradicator shows up. But he's like, oh, I'm too late, I'm the Eradicator. And Lois Lane's there, and he's like, oh, you wanna be the Eradicator? So he basically just Lois Lane becomes the Eradicator, and she looks so cool. She's got like bleeding eyes and a bleeding House of L symbol on her black bodysuit, and she's got Superman's torn and tattered cape from the end of the fight flowing on her back, and it's like, yo, she's scary looking, and she just kind of takes over, kills Luthor and a bunch of other villains and all this crazy stuff. Really just starts this killing politicians, and then she ends up getting like mad at Superman because she's like, you had all this power, you could have saved our world, our whole world, and you never did it. Even though he really did, but like she means like the structure of the world, fix that. And she just like destroys Cyborg, Superman, and all this other stuff. Really insane stuff. Superman comes back to life, and he's horrified by her, but then he gets killed again because she got in the way, and oof. And then we get the Blackest Night, which might be my favorite one. I'm not super sure which one's my favorite one, but Blackest Night is one of my favorite comic events of all time. One of my favorite comic stories of all time, probably. Really dope. So in this one, Sinestro, instead of sharing the power with a bunch of other people to take down the White Light, this time Sinestro hogs it all to himself. And he can't beat Necron. Necron kills the life entity, and the universe as a whole is dying. There are only a handful of living beings left in the entire universe. Lobo's one because he can just heal from anything the Black Lanterns do to him. You also have Dove. Remember, the Black Lanterns couldn't really touch her because she can emanate the white light, and she's the last source of real life left in the universe. Mr. Miracle is alive just because he's been able to escape the Black Lanterns this whole time. And then Sinestro is half alive. He's a half White Lantern, half Black Lantern. McFarlane, please, let's do it. Let's absolutely do it. So Mr. Miracle has this plan to reboot their universe with the White Light and the Source Wall of Dove, and they would all... most of them would be sacrificing their lives to do it, but they're kind of happy to, because it's like, we're just going to live in a dead universe and be torn apart by Black Lanterns if we don't, so... But Mr. Miracle gets selfish because Black Lantern Darkseid shows up, which is awesome! And he's like, hey, Mr. Miracle, you're a god. You'll survive all of this when the universe reboots. And it'll be a universe from scratch. And there'll be no Barda in it. And he's like, well, in that case, I'd rather just try to bring Barda back. So he just ruins the whole plan. Intentionally. Just kills everything. All hope. And Lobo was kind of sweet on Dove. He was like, she's the only good thing that's ever been in my life. So Lobo reboots the universe, but the universe is rebooted with his genetic code. A universe rebooted by Dove would have been a very pure, peaceful universe. Universe rebooted by Lobo is a universe where all the intelligent life is aggressive and horrible and all... So it still didn't end up well. But I guess they did get a better ending, if you see it that way. The next one's Infinite Crisis, which was a pretty cool one, because in Infinite Crisis, Blue Beetle takes out Maxwell Lord, kills him, and ends Infinite Crisis kind of before it begins. Blue Beetle takes control of Checkmate, or whatever it was called. Takes control of Brother Eye, and basically just becomes the policeman of the world. And he starts taking out supervillains and big threats, because in the DC universe, you know, they got that rabbit hole where it's like, if you kill once, you're just going to end up killing again, because it'll be easier every time. And Blue Beetle kind of proved that here. A lot of people died, so he takes on Superboy Prime. So Superboy Prime is working with Blue Beetle. Brother Eye gives him, like, this anti-monitor suit, because they got the anti-monitor stuff from that tower from Infinite Crisis. It's wild. It's probably the best out of all of the ones in this volume. My favorite one, I think, is still Blackest Night, just because I'm soft on Blackest Night. But the Infinite Crisis one, I think, was the best. It ends with Blue Beetle just going absolutely crazy. And then in the Judas Contract one, Terra doesn't die. Like, Dick kind of sees something in her, like doubt, like maybe she doesn't want to betray the Titans. And then that he kind of lets that be known to her, that he saw that in her. So she ends up taking out Deathstroke, putting his super soldier serum into herself, which makes her so powerful she can control Earth on the other side of the planet. She takes out all the heroes, just kills everyone, starts going by Gaia, and she basically destroys the Earth. And like, she does this thing where people have to keep her alive because if they don't, the Earth will fall apart, because she is consciously holding the Earth together at any given moment. And when she dies, the whole planet literally falls apart. Pretty wild. And she just ends up living this life where she just goes across the Earth all day, every day, just causing chaos because she's so screwed up in the head. She's really screwing it all up. And then I'm not going to review all the reprint issues that are in here to give context to the others. You know, I'm not going to review the Nightfall issue and stuff. If you want to see all that, just watch a review of Nightfall. I will be reviewing The Death of Superman soon. I've had my copy for a while. I really need to get that review up. And I've already reviewed Blackest Night, of course. So you can check out my Blackest Night review. It should be in my comic reviews playlist. Blackest Night is so good. Like, you just gotta check it out if you haven't read it. And I think I reviewed Infinite Crisis with a guest. So I think someone reviewed that with me back when my comic reviews were 2 people and not just 1. And then I've never reviewed the Judas Contract because I've never read the Judas Contract. But that's it. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, etc. I still have several books that I've recently read and will be reviewing. So definitely come check those out. But that's it. Thank you all once again for your support. And I'll see you all next time.